For years, the world of underground car builders revolved around one man, a rough-edged mechanic known only as Bad Chad. His reputation grew from late-night street builds, reality TV rumors, and the myth that he could create art from scrap metal. But behind the fame, behind the greasy overalls and loud personality, was a man who hid more than he revealed. His rise to fame came fast, loud, and messy, leaving many unanswered questions in its wake. And one question overshadowed them all: whatever happened between him and Jolene? Fans saw hints of her in grainy documentary clips, old photos taped to tool chests, and whispered stories among the car-building community. Jolene was more than a supporting figure. She was a force of creativity who matched Chad's intensity with calm genius. Yet somewhere along the journey, she vanished without explanation. The silence surrounding her departure grew heavier with time. And for years, Chad refused to speak about her, until now. When Chad finally agreed to a tell-all interview, no one expected the hardened builder to open his heart. Sitting in a dusty garage lit only by a single lamp, he was visibly shaken. The camera crew thought he would dodge questions, crack jokes, or stick to rehearsed lines. Instead, he broke down before the first question was finished. "I owe the world the truth," he muttered, voice trembling with a weight he'd carried alone for years. He confessed that Jolene wasn't just a partner or assistant, she was the true visionary behind many of their most famous builds. "Half those cars weren't mine," he said quietly. "They were hers. She dreamed them up. I just welded the pieces together." His honesty stunned everyone. Chad was known for his ego, but this was something else entirely. It was a man finally admitting he hadn't been the genius the world believed him to be. Chad described their early days together with surprising tenderness. He said Jolene walked into his life with a sketchbook full of impossible designs and a calm confidence he had never encountered before. Together they made magic, turning junkyard parts into creations that looked like sculpture. Their dynamic was turbulent but electric. They fought like rivals and collaborated like soulmates. Every project felt like a shared heartbeat. But with success came friction. As offers poured in, Chad admitted he let pride cloud his judgment. He began taking more credit in public, unintentionally pushing Jolene into the background. She didn't complain, not at first. But the silence between them grew, filled with unspoken resentment. "We were building cars," Chad said, "but we were also building pressure." And eventually, something had to break. The turning point came when a major TV network approached Chad with an offer, a show about his custom builds, starring him alone. Chad claimed he fought to include Jolene, but producers insisted that audiences needed one face to follow. He knew it wasn't fair, but the dream of being a national sensation blinded him to the consequences. Against his better judgment, he signed the contract without her. When Jolene learned the truth, the foundation of their partnership cracked. She had invested years into the dream they built together, only to be erased from its biggest moment. "I told them it should have been our show," Chad said softly. But by then, the decision had already hurt her. The betrayal was too deep. And the damage, irreversible. Chad recounted their final argument with a haunted look. He said Jolene didn't shout or break tools or slam doors, she simply stood in the middle of the garage, absorbing the reality that everything they built had been taken out from under her. The studio lights that should have shone on both of them would now highlight only him. And she felt the sting of betrayal from the person she trusted most. Before leaving, Jolene walked around the workshop, touching the frames, the sketches, the memories. Then she looked Chad in the eyes and said, "I hope the world gives you everything you asked for. Just don't forget what you lost." With that, she walked out into the night. Chad never saw her again. The silence she left behind echoed louder than any slammed door ever could. The show became a hit, turning Bad Chad into a household name. But while fans saw a confident star on television, behind the scenes, Chad was falling apart. He said every build felt empty, every spotlight felt undeserved. The cars that once brought him joy now filled him with guilt. "I kept trying to convince myself I'd earned it," he recalled. "But every episode reminded me of who wasn't there." Producers pushed for drama, speed, and spectacle, but Chad confessed he was only pretending. His passion evaporated. He admitted to late-night moments staring at half-finished cars, imagining how Jolene would have completed them. He felt like an imposter wearing a crown that didn't fit. And the more successful he became, the deeper the guilt took root. Years after her disappearance, rumors began to circulate. Some said Jolene had opened her own custom shop 2 towns over, quietly building cars that rivaled anything on TV. Others claimed she had left the automotive world entirely, focusing instead on metal art installations displayed in underground galleries. No one really knew where she went, and Jolene herself never came forward to set the record straight. Chad said he kept track of every rumor, even the unbelievable ones. "I never reached out," he admitted. "I didn't feel like I deserved to." He described checking his messages every morning for years, hoping for even a single text from her. But it never came. The absence became a constant reminder of the void he had created. When the interviewer finally asked the question fans debated for years, "What really happened to Jolene?" Chad took a long pause. He revealed that Jolene had suffered quietly under the pressure and betrayal long before she walked away. She had dreams beyond car building, dreams Chad never truly listened to. Her departure wasn't just about the contract. It was about realizing she had been living someone else's dream. Chad confessed that he had one chance to fix things, one chance to fight for her, but pride held him back. "I waited," he said. "I waited too long." By the time he tried to reach her, she had built a new life, one that didn't include him. And he couldn't blame her. With tears in his eyes, Chad admitted the true reason he finally chose to speak. He said he had carried the burden for years, unable to hold on to the lie anymore. "I wasn't the genius," he said. "I was the hammer. She was the spark." He finally acknowledged that Jolene was the real heart behind their workshop, the uncredited artist behind many of the designs that made him famous. He ended his confession with a message he hoped Jolene would somehow hear. "You built more than cars. You built me. And I broke everything we had. I'm sorry." For the first time, Chad seemed smaller, not the loud, confident mechanic the world knew, but a man stripped of ego, staring into the truth he avoided for too long. Within hours of the interview's release, fans reacted with shock, sympathy, and heartbreak. Many expressed newfound respect for Chad's honesty, while others mourned the story of a partnership that could have changed the industry. Jolene instantly became a legend, an unseen hero whose influence shaped a generation of builders. A mystery, a muse, a force the world never fully appreciated. As the documentary closed, Chad sat alone in his garage, staring at the empty doorway where Jolene once stood. Whether she ever sees his confession remains unknown. But one thing is certain, the truth he finally revealed has forever changed how the world sees him, and her. And somewhere out there, Jolene continues her journey, carrying the brilliance that made her unforgettable.